And we're back with another episode of Unlocking Success, my beautiful listeners, with myself, Rich Homie Vang, and my co-host, Eric Eclipse.
Skirt.
What is up?
Hey, what's up? Was that to me or them?
I guess both of y'all.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah.
What's good?
Yeah, it's popping. I'm popping.
Yeah.
Doing great. Yeah, we got some topics to just kind of dive into. So yeah, we're just going to get right into it. So something I want to touch base on and make note of, I'm pretty sure we already talked about it before,
Sure.
but about how AI, artificial intelligence, is just getting more and more advanced as, as each second passes.
Oh, yeah.
There's a YouTube channel called 2 Minute Papers that basically, in video format, will go over scientific experiments, essentially looking at different AI agents and how they perform tasks, such as learning skills, which can be like boxing or having AI play a game of hide and seek, and then through trial and error, progressively learning how to win the game. And in this case, they broke the game to where like the mechanics of the game was broken that the AI was able to figure out. There's other things like deep fake stuff such as creation and detection, which is actually kind of scary now with like facial recognition and such, and then with deep fakes. And the last thing we said about AIs would be the simulations of real things and events, to where you really can't tell reality and fiction apart. Say from the technological advances with AI.
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring that up. So, as I just told you not too long ago, off camera, as you would say, I just watched Spectre, the 2015 James Bond film. And for any people who have seen this, they know probably where I'm going with this is. Well, in that film, they're trying to set up like this 9-nation unified central intelligence agency, and it deals with a bunch of like facial scanning and blah blah blah. And basically, the whole plot of it is it just mitigates the need for the 00 program, right? At the end of it, you can probably assume what happens, but it's interesting that you bring that up because, yeah, once again, never forget, movies and stories are lies that tell the truth. And it's like, well, how did this person make this story? Well, it's a reflection of what the world is like. So, for example, like the other day I was talking to my brother, and I was like, how the hell did Frank Herbert make Dune? Because for anyone who's read that book, it's like, how the hell do you make this? And then you told me, it's like, well, it's a reflection of real life. In some degree that was in 1965 when that book was read, or not, when it was wrote. So yeah, interesting stuff. AI, you always have to remember too that AI it appears as this big scary thing, right? In which, sure, but you can only... The problem with AI is when you allow humans to rely on their own creation. When they allow the machine to become smarter than the person who built it, that's when you have problems. Now, as long as you still maintain that authority and whatnot when it comes to creating the AI and machines, you don't really have a problem. Look at, like, machines that make cars. Those things are dumber than a box of rocks in reality. And it's when you start diving into the smart AIs and stuff like that, that's where you can have your problems.
Yeah, something at least with that would be, how could one, show an AI right from wrong? Because you could say, like, you can teach AI good, but as soon as it gets a taste of bad, then it'll just want to, keep doing that. Damn, what was I trying to go with this? It would be, or it's like, say like for training a dog. Like, there's no such thing as a bad dog. Only bad owners, bad trainers. Could the same thing be said for AI? We've watched movies or video games or anything, storytelling, where you have the villain, quote unquote villain of the story, rant about why they do the things they're doing, and part of us, oh well, I can see, I can understand his way of thinking. Like, in the wide perspective, all right, looks really, really fucking bad. But from that person's perspective, it seems completely,
that's how they see it.
Logical.
That's how they see it.
And correct. We'll say like Thanos erase half of the population, so then that half will be able to, sustain itself with the resources available. Sounds really shitty, but sounds kind of all right because, overpopulation, not enough resources. You can see where this goes, but with at least we'll tie this back to AI. What is right and what is wrong?
It's basically what you just said. So, and by no means am I someone that makes artificial intelligence or any sort of machine that thinks for itself within its limited scripted programming, right? But yes, like, it's up to whoever is in charge of that AI to teach it properly, I guess, right? Just go back to Thanos, right? It's all about perspective. When I first thought of the idea, man, that's fucked up, right? You kill half the population, blah, blah. Well, in reality, it's actually not that bad. And two, how the hell are you going to tell a guy to not fulfill his purpose in life? Which is basically that. That's a little bit off the topic, but that's something I've thought about too with the whole Thanos thing, right? Like, if that's genuinely his destiny, his purpose within his lifetime, you can't take that away from him. That's what he's in this universe to do, is to kill half the living organisms in the universe. But once again, to bring it back to AI, yeah, I think it just depends on how that particular thing is shown the world, right? And do you feed it a bunch of lies? Do you tell it the truth? There's a fine line there. I don't know how you do that. Like I said, I don't make them. Because you can't, I feel like you can't tell this living thing, essentially, the cold hard truth of the world. But maybe you can, I don't know. It's an interesting conversation. Yeah, you certainly can't tell lies.
Weird how we're on Marvel again, but I'll stick with it. We have like Jarvis, and then we had Ultron. Ultron became self-aware, started diving into the archives and just seeing the world as is, and kind of just learned from it. It's like, all right, well, this is what I have to do. And the superhero type story, that's the bad guy.
I mean, it's just war at the end of the day, right? You see something your way, they see it a different way, so they're bad, you're good. And it's the same thing in their eyes.
Yeah.
It's also like Agent Smith, right? Becomes, well, when you really look at the character of Agent Smith, it's a very fascinating character because he's a program, right? But he's a thinking. He has free will, basically. I mean, he can think for himself.
Yeah, as soon as Neo helped him free himself.
It's even before that. Like that video I showed you that I was watching earlier.
Yeah.
It's talking about... it's talking about the scene where he's like interrogating Morpheus. I mean, he's talking about how humanity is like a pain to him, and he hates humanity because he hates what he has to do. Like, he hates being an agent, if you want to put it. And his key to get out, he doesn't say like our key, it's his key, because he's like doing what he does causes him pain, which is interesting because you wouldn't think that would come from just a particular program, right? And his key is, within Morpheus and stuff like that. It's very interesting. And like when you watch like him fighting Neo, it's like it's not just I'm a robot punching this guy. It's like you can see it with his eyes. Well, now there's like intent that he has a burning hatred for this fucking person. It's
that's
weird.
true. Yeah, you see with the facial expressions, like when he's like taking attacks and he's giving out attacks.
Yep. And then we see what progresses throughout the next two movies. It's like this is someone that just has a lot of hatred, and once again, you wouldn't think that would come from a program.
Yeah, now you say that's true. Like,
first
movie, second movie, and
third movie.
Yeah.
Like at the end where, he's fighting Mr. Anderson. He's like, why? Why do you keep getting up? Just fucking die so I can be free. And he's like, and you can tell, like, he's like, why, Mr. Anderson? There's no purpose, blah, 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 blah. And then, he hits him with the fucking truth bomb, like, because I choose to. It's like, damn. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Artificial intelligence is interesting. Hey, shit, then you have, like, fucking, if you want to go down, like, the Halo route, you have, like, Cortanas of the world who, whatever you want to think about Halo 5 Guardians, if you've played that. You have, like, that route where you have an AI that's supposed to be decommissioned, and then you thought she does, but then she breaks out of that, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's all an interesting, it's a very interesting loophole to go through. The whole artificial intelligence plot line. I personally, we don't need it, right? You don't need it for anything. Like, I turn Siri off on my phone. I don't need that shit. And that's also like how Dune sees it, because they don't use machines anymore. That's why they have mentats, right? The human computers. Because machines were the downfall of the golden age of Earth and stuff like that. So now that's what you have a mentat for. That's what you have a navigator for. The guild navigators, that's what they're for. You don't need machines. You just make this person really fucked up on spice and then like pass through space and time.
Humans are supercomputers.
They are. I don't really have a metric for it. But, it's said that you only use 10% of your brain or whatever. And that's not because you can't use more, it's because you don't think you can. Once again, like, we'll use Star Wars, because trying to describe this in the Dune universe, which Star Wars is based off Dune, don't forget that. Dune isn't based off Star Wars, it's the other way around. We'll use Star Wars, for example. The Force. Once again, it's not modeled, like, George Lucas didn't pull that out of his ass, like, oh, this is cool. No, it's because it's based off real things. The Force is a real thing. The world around us is just energy. It's just, can you free your mind and allow yourself to interact with it, basically? Am I saying that you can go pick up a tree? I don't know. Maybe. But, yeah. The amount of power that your average person uses as far as brain capacity, you have no idea. I don't have any idea. I just know that who knows what you can do with it. And like I said, if it's like you see in Star Wars, maybe. I don't know. I know for sure in Dune, like what Paul Atreides can do, or what the Bene Gesserit can do with their minds. That's true. You can do that.
And this kind of ties us back in with AI in the brain. I was doing some researching on the AI. I also forgot about like Elon Musk and his Neuralink.
Fuck that guy.
I know last week we talked about Starlink. Just recently they released something about the Tesla bot. I've totally forgot to look into that. That's something we'll probably touch base later. Mm-hmm. But at least we'll look at the Neuralink. The Neuralink is basically that microchip that goes in your brain. Pretty sure it'd be like AI stuff, and like you were saying, or said, we only use 10% of our brain. Maybe with that, you could unlock those sectors with technology.
Yeah. I have a lot to say on this, but I'll let you finish what you're saying.
And we were talking about the Matrix, so it'd kind of be like the Matrix in a way. They plug in to learn those skills. Give you the same things with the Neuralink microchip or some other type of microchip that
cerveza sickness.
Yeah, that
Thanks, George.
that was talked about.
That's a real thing. Don't think it's not, people.
So they're talking about be able to learn skills really fast. Just kind of download the skill and boom, it's already because that microchip Neuralink is in your brain. Boom, you've learned that. But also, how the smart homes have gotten really big with using, say, hey Google, turn off the lights or such and so forth. That's something they were talking about with the Neuralink and the microchip, say remote controlling stuff. If you think of it, then it will happen.
Mm-hmm.
But then it got me questioning, who is in control? Sure, you may have control it to perform the action, but you're not really performing the action in a way.
No. I mean, did you personally create this microchip and put it in your brain? No, someone else did. Which means someone else has the master key to your lock.
Yeah, because it's all right, my end goal is turn off the light. So me, my brain, I'll tell the microchip to turn off the light. Microchip will then remote control it, turn off the light.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not that straight. How do I want to put this?
I think you can word it like this in a very simplistic term. Did you build the service you're using? If so, then you have full control over it. But if someone else did and put it in your mind, that means that they truly control it.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you use it, but it's not yours. It's Tesla's. Or Elon Musk's. Whatever that company is eventually called. Maybe it's just Tesla. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. It's that's a good thing you put it like. You're using that. So, yeah.
It's I use this iPhone.
Yeah, it's your choice to use that to perform that task, but it's not you performing the task.
Yeah,
in a way.
Like I said, just with my iPhone. I use this iPhone, but I know that I don't have full control over this because I don't make this thing. And that's what I was going to go in with. You can already start seeing the shape up. So eventually, talk about the motherfuckers. If you listen to this and you didn't watch the George Gammon video that we talked about in last week's episode, go watch that because that's what we're talking about right now. Obviously, a huge talking point of this current thing is climate change, right? Climate change is a natural thing, right? You can't stop it. But they want to try. But really what they're doing is centralizing everyone to cohere with what they want. So they're going to come up with these smart cities, right? Probably going to be all the metropolitan areas of the major nations, right? And with doing that, you see why Tesla and Elon Musk are starting to hint and talk about the things that they are. Whether it's Tesla cars and autonomous vehicles, neurochips, Tesla bots, Starlink, the solar panels shit, is because, and there's a reason why he's so popular, right? Because it's the global elites, even though they're not really elites, are using him as their poster child to promote this stuff and make it seem like, oh, this is cool tech. This is cool stuff. But what they don't see is it's really just centralization. Because once again, like I just said, you don't make any of these things, but you utilize them in a world where it's just all centralized socialism, right? That ties into it as well. And at the end of the day, sure, the Neuralink may come out and it's like, damn, we can cure this shit, right? We can cure your Asperger's, just to name something. Right? We can cure your Asperger's because we can put this chip and allow it to send electromagnetic pulses, or however that shit works, to that part of your brain to turn it back on, or whatever they need to do. But what the problem with it is you're basically allowing someone else to manipulate your mind, or wherever they put the microchip, your arm or your heart, most likely your mind though. And if you're a bad boy and you don't do what you're told in the socialistic environment of the smart city, well, then they're going to punish you, right? Whether that's use this thing to maybe hurt you with your mind, like give you a headache or something like that. Or whether it's when the central bank digital currency comes out, they manipulate your money. Because once again, with those, you don't own that money. I mean, that's the problem with centralized currency too. At least with dollars, like cash dollars, once it's yours, you can work on the table with it. But if you're dealing with an electronic currency like a central bank digital currency that's controlled completely and electronically by someone, you can't hide it. Well, maybe if you're bad, then they'll start making it disappear or something like that. And just to tie it all back together, once again, this Tesla stuff seems cool, right? I mean, like having a Tesla, an automated, like the autonomous aspect of it. Elon Musk has said himself in major cities in the next 5 to 10 years, there won't be like manually people driving cars anymore. You'll go to a track for that because everything's going to be done by automated transportation. And once again, it sounds cool right now, but trust me, it ain't cool. Look at, once again, Soviet Union, Russia, when that was in peak communism, socialism ways. Go look at that. Do you think your average person was living a good life there? No, look at Cuba. Look at Sweden. Sweden was a beautiful country. Then they turned socialism, allowed a bunch of shitty people in there, and now it's not safe to go outside in major areas, I guess, after like night, after dark. It's not good. You don't want that shit. You may think you do, but when you really look into it, and if I talked a little fast, but if when you listen to what the hell I just said, and you actually sit on that, does that sound like something that you want? People to know exactly what you're doing at every living moment, to have access to everything that you want to keep private, like your finances, when really you don't control your own finances. You don't control your own methods of getting to work. You don't control your own goddamn house because you share living with people, because they got you to sell your house. And you live in this nice, smart city of New York. Fuck that. All you global elites can piss to fucking hell.
Yeah, it's really scary. It's like they're piecing the puzzle together.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They're like, we got Neuralink. And then how are we going to be able to connect everybody? Starlink.
Everyone's going to use that internet.
Everyone has access, it's accessible to everybody. Even places that are inaccessible will make it accessible. So we have to be connected. Mm-hmm. And it's like you said, we're just using the product. We're not in control of the product. And what I was looking up, during your whole monologue was Deus Ex. Mm-hmm. I think it's one of the newer games that came out. I think in the beginning you are implemented with the microchip, and then throughout the game you level up and you can upgrade your microchip and such and so forth. But as you play the game, it seems really good, but then the final boss comes through, and because you're not in control of that microchip giving you all those benefits and perks, the final boss is the one who's in control and deactivates it. So all your buffed up stuff is just kind of gone. Mm-hmm. You're left with your bare self.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like what we were saying here. I mean, if you're not in control, then whoever is can manipulate you however they please.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And when your whole life is centered around that, then you have to behave the way that they want you to behave. And they phrase it, they'll phrase it, right? Like, is this stuff going to happen? It's not concrete, but it's strongly implied that this is what they want. And implying something is basically saying it. They're just going to say in the way of, oh, we'll do it for you so you don't have to worry about it. And they make it sound good, right? But in reality, you don't control your life for shit.
Yeah, it's just like, we'll do it for you so that you don't have to worry about it. Because, worrying is bad. Mm-hmm. But maybe there's some things that, you should.
Yeah, some things that you should be in control of. And, yeah. who knows what's on the horizon for that sort of thing. But it's just it's a question that you have to ask yourself.
So,
You guys recording right now?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you want to join?
Oh, yeah, I'll join.
what's up, guys?
Well,
we got special guest Revan up in the building.
Just to brief you on where we were just talking about. We were talking about Neuralink. Well, he brought it up, and then I started talking about smart cities on the horizon and stuff.
Fuck
like
that.
Yeah, I'm talking about all power centralization and whatnot, and it's something that people really have to be careful about. Your average person, they wouldn't believe a word that I just said. I just went a little monologue like he mentioned.
Well, the average person consumes 50% of their time is watching Netflix and reading news and looking at social media and listening to rap music and just pure garbage.
Listening to the wind.
So they don't have the mental framework to even conceptualize that they're being lied to. Like they're no different than like a cow or a pig that is given certain stimulants as they're growing up to produce meat for them to be harvested. I mean, it's just reality. And what was I gonna say? I was listening to George Gammon, and the guest he had on was saying that as the government becomes more and more authoritarian, people are going to become more and more tribalistic out of biological imperatives to seek safety. And I think that's what we're seeing. Stupid people are congregating with stupid people. Intelligent people are congregating with intelligent people. Like there's really no in between.
No, and then if there are people in between, they're going to eventually go one way.
Or they're despised upon.
They'll
looked upon as outsiders.
Yeah, they'll be
evil.
the odd man left out. That's very possible too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these are very interesting conversations to have that no one seems to be having and stuff like that.
It's very rare you actually meet someone who's worth a shit, I found.
Yeah. Especially depending on where you live. It's very possible.
Yeah.
I mean, if you live in some dumbass libtard area...
Yeah, like a democratic shithole like New York or California.
That's where you're just talking... That's where I was giving the example of a smart city being like New York. I think that'd probably be the first one that'd be rolled out.
Well, what's so quote-unquote smart about this city? Are the people in it smart? Or is it the technology that rules their lives smart?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I know, I think it was sometime last week, you were saying something about China's dominance in taking over Africa.
Yeah,
I just want to elaborate on that. I know I brought up stuff about China like buying up a bunch of the major ports and such, but then I was like, all right, this is like not with Africa, so I want to just just elaborate on Africa. So something I found was just a bunch of at first a bunch of African countries. Yes, countries. A bunch of African countries. They were living in poverty and such, but then a lot of them they're developing and they're actually getting out of poverty and reaching middle income class with a lot of foreign aid from China.
Yeah, yep. That's he might know more specifically, but from a broad basis, basically China is giving a bunch of money for infrastructure to these African countries, knowing they will never be able to pay them back. So they're basically going to be enslaved to China, essentially, and China owns everything that they're putting their money into. Like you said, ports in particular, I can't remember the names of them, but there's a few that are just like the biggest shipping ports in all of Africa. China basically owns them. And once again, it's kind of like what we did, the United States did, with a lot of the oil, right? We would loan them basically protection in return for their oil. But instead, China is investing, you could say, in the future. They're just pumping a shit ton of money in fucking Africa and basically claiming it.
Yeah, there's a lot of resources in Africa that that China wants.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of untapped resources.
Yeah.
And we're going into an era of resource. There's not gonna be a lot of resources for people because, especially in America. I mean, what we just saw in Afghanistan further cements the U.S. dollar's decline because one of the only things propping up the U.S. dollar's hegemony was its military. If you didn't want to accept our dollar as currency when you're trading your natural resources, well, I mean, we're just going to fuck you up. Mm-hmm. But as we just saw with Afghanistan, I mean, that's a first step in my opinion as a dollar losing its reserve currency status.
Yeah,
and I wasn't the one who said this. This was Eric Prince, the owner of Blackwater. He was talking to Tucker Carlson, I believe, and I heard this from Jim Rickards on Keith McCullough's show. So if you guys wanna if you wanna find where I found that, that's where I found it.
Yeah, that's on hedgeye.com. You can listen to that, free access. It's a good one.
Yeah.
And another thing, too, is, like, obviously for the longest time, like you just said, the U.S. has been the fucking giga chad of the world, man. If you don't do what we say, we'll fuck you up. Yeah. But then you see what happens in Afghanistan, and it might call on China and be like, oh, you did that. We're going to call your bluff, right? We're going to invade Hong Kong.
Yeah, it's just like you're all bark, no bite.
Especially now, and I agree with that shit for sure. I agree with that. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you see China's just starting to impose their will on a lot of it.
Well, they're going to.
Yeah.
I mean,
they already kind of are. They have been for a while. I mean, once again, how the fuck is China a developing nation still?
It's not.
It's not. Exactly. They're the superpower of the world in reality.
Yeah. I think it changed since last decade because they went from like a poor farming country to fucking superpower. Mm-hmm. Basically, they are now.
Particularly the manufacturing capital of the world. Everything comes out of China.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And their military is catching up for sure. And what we've heard time and time again from people that we listen to is they're really hammering down on promoting men.
Mm-hmm.
You can just say that. They're just focusing on what makes something work, I guess. It's not just men alone, I get that, but yeah. You want to go conquer some shit? Get some.
Gonna send the bitches to do it?
Fuck no. They're gonna be like, the women from the Jersey.
They're gonna bring their Starbucks with them? Are they gonna bring their nail polish with them?
Yeah, so they're just gonna turn some Jersey chicks, like from South Park. Just start, fuck you. But exactly, yeah. You're gonna send your women to do it? No. So yeah, China's already won.
The fact that this is even a conversation is fucking retarded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's bad.
The fact that we even have to talk about what makes men and women different is just so retarded. It's like, do you have a brain?
It's retarded.
Do you have a brain? Talk to a woman and talk to a man and tell me with a straight face that you just talked to the same creature. You can't. You're full of shit. Fuck you. This fucking gender equality shit is fucking stupid. And granted, there are some women who are exceptions, just as there are some men. I'm not saying that, but generally speaking,
exceptions don't make the rule.
It's like, are you brain dead? Why is this even a fucking discussion?
Here's a perfect example of this. When you talk to a woman about something like this, they think that you're attacking them directly. No, you're talking about...
Yeah, they take it personally.
Exactly. And that's where it's... Number one, that's where it's different. Because when you talk to a man about something like this, obviously you rationalize. You're talking about the broad perspective of them. But when you talk to a woman about women issues, I say with air quotes, they think that you're attacking them. Like, no, I'm talking about the female population.
Well, it's probably because it's true to them. That's why they're getting offended, because it's true. And they will throw the kitchen sink at you to defend their ego.
Actually, I had that conversation like that with my mother not too long ago. Yeah.
I don't really want to get into this kind of discussion just because it's...
No, it was...
You're
a red pill.
Like, no, we don't talk about that shit.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, we can just transition.
Get labeled as red
so,
pill.
we were talking about China, taking over Africa, basically, giving them money to develop their countries. It's basically great. Like Revan was saying, tapping into or acquiring untapped resources, and apparently it's been really great ROI for China. Between 2006 and 2011, average ROI from the investments in Africa was 11%, and that's kind of crazy, man.
And something to add, those investments will continue to get more valuable as the dollar loses value.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Those are some older
because
metrics.
as the dollar loses value, the value of commodities will rise.
Mm-hmm. And we've talked about before, but all the government liquidity injection into everything that the Fed's doing, they can't stop doing that. They have to keep doing that at this point.
I mean, that's what we saw in 2020.
That's what I mean. After doing that, you cannot stop. So they're going to have to keep doing that, which in turn is going to keep decreasing the value of the dollar. They don't have a choice.
No, they don't, because there's too much debt in the system. And if they don't print enough dollars, then corporations and people with access to capital won't have enough money to service their debts, and then, I mean, they'll have to default and they'll go bankrupt, and they can't have that. So they have to keep printing money. They have to keep access to capital easy for people that need it to buy back their own shares, to increase their share price, get people to buy their stock, so they have more money to service their debts. Like, I saw a figure a couple years ago, something like, this was for like the airlines industry, like, it was like 90-something% of all debt borrowed was just put into buying back their own stock.
Mm-hmm. I think maybe you're talking about that.
Like,
was this 2020?
Yeah, this is 2020. Some like American Airlines, like it was like airlines, cruise liners, all of these levered piece of shit companies. Like almost all of their borrowing just went into buying their stock.
I think Amazon was doing a lot of that too. I think everyone pretty much was just doing buybacks of their own stock, which that can never end good, and it did.
Well, I mean, that just leads to an economic environment where you literally have to print money, or else corporations will go bankrupt, and they'll have to default.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the exact inverse of free market capitalism.
No, this is communism.
Yep. And what we were just talking about before you came in here, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Briefly.
This is what a centrally planned economy looks like. They get to pick the winners and losers, and if you think that humans have the wisdom to do that, God help you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think they do, but only a select few really are able to. Most of the people. You and I talked about this not too long ago. Most people at the top,
yeah,
a lot of them are just put into it.
Well, right? I mean, this whole idea of the one that's able to see, this is like the whole Messiah sort of archetype that is perpetuated throughout our culture.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole idea of wanting to be the Messiah is Lucifer, like the name Lucifer means wanting to be like Christ. Because Christ wasn't trying to be Christ, Christ was Christ, but Lucifer wants to be Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where this whole you are the one, this whole fucking shit comes from.
Very brief. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
Very briefly, I want to get into the conversation. I just want to state the point. The stupid dumb abortion shit in Texas. Well, I saw an article this morning about how
what's that about?
So Texas is basically banning
good
abortions and shit.
Good.
To my understanding. Well, they were talking about how the headline was Satanism could be the last resort for stopping it.
What?
Yeah, no bullshit. I'm gonna see if I can find it.
Say more.
Satanism.
So Texas bans it, and they were saying Satanism might be the only way to not ban it, not have it
to
banned.
save it or something like that. I don't remember where the fuck I saw it.
Well, I mean, who said that? Was it
It was some stupid fucking
some fucking blue check guy that just got the blue check because he sucks Twitter's dick.
Maybe, I don't fucking know. I'll see if I can find it, but you guys can carry on.
So, I mean, that was China, supplier of 30% of the world's goods, and then, yeah, them trying to just basically dominate the world, in a sense. Like we were saying, for buying the ports. So we have Long Beach, California, second largest port in North America, roughly 16 million tons of cargo pass annually, which eventually make their way to warehouses, factory, and homes, and is responsible for over $1 billion worth in trade and employs over 340,000 people. It being in Long Beach, California, you would think California owns that port.
Yeah.
Or the U.S. would own that port.
Yeah.
But that's
China.
But that's wrong. It's owned by a company based out of Hong Kong.
Really?
And when they sold it to Hong Kong, they had a really good relationship back then, and the U.S. viewed it as a win-win, just because, like, you know, it creates so many jobs essentially, and it's bringing all this money in. But I guess in 2017 things change to where we have a China state-run company, Costco, not the same Costco as a bunch of people think we know.
Mm-hmm.
In 2017, they purchased a 75% stake in that Hong Kong company, essentially making the state or the China state-ran company owner
The
of
Chinese
Costco.
government bought that stake in the company?
Yeah. They purchased 75% of that company in Hong Kong.
Wow.
Which means basically the China state
It's run by the Chinese government.
Owns the second largest port in the U.S. or in North America.
No wonder it's called California.
So then, you know, that happened, but then the federal government you know, definitely had security concerns, so they forced that Hong Kong-based company to sell the port immediately to a non-Chinese state-run company, which I guess a private Australian company bought that. And apparently that's something...
Private Australian company?
They reserve the right to. I think if it's an out of
so
country...
So it's not owned by China then? It's not owned by China?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Anymore. It was.
Okay.
It was, but then the U.S. forced it to sell it. But, you know, this is just an example of, you know, where, you know, Chinese state-run companies have attempted to buy, like, really important ports and such. Because say if they did control the one in the U.S. or a bunch of them, then, you know, they can control what comes in and what doesn't come in to said country. Mm-hmm. But, you know, U.S. didn't like it, so they said, fuck out of here. Now, apparently this is all part of President Xi's Belt and Road Initiative, which some refer as the New Silk Road. Basically, he wants to build friendlier relationships with foreign countries while helping grow their economy. People have called it the plan for world domination, essentially by monopolizing the world's trading network, you know, starting with one and then acquiring them all. If you look on a map, say on the east side, say if you were to go from Japan to want to go to Europe, unless you're going through those ports, you know, I think it's through China and such and so forth, and like getting by Africa, or I think through the Suez Canal, through the Middle East, I think you had to go around Australia and such. Typically, the most efficient way from point A to point B is a straight line. Mm-hmm. And who owns those ports to make that straight line? China.
Yeah, China. I mean, there's a reason they're putting military base in the South China Sea. They want that entire area under their watch and under their supervision because I don't know how much. Maybe like I think I saw a figure like 30% of the world's trade passes through that area or something. I could be wrong on that, but yeah, China's making moves to be the hegemonic power of the world.
Yeah, and like so they made the move on the U.S. U.S. didn't like it, kicked them out. But China's making the moves on a bunch of countries around the world, and they're seeing a lot of win-win scenarios to where it's like, you know, it's a China state-run company, but we're doing fine economically and such. But
I'm trying
yeah,
to
I
find
mean,
what you just said, by the way.
taking over of world trade and such, because they supply a lot of the goods. The water is kind of untapped, like you were saying, for the China Sea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just found the thing he was talking about. So this is from 2020. It says about 80% of global trade is carried by sea, and estimates of the volume carried through the South China Sea ranging from 20 to 33%.
Okay.
Yeah, so they got a large amount going just through their backyard, basically.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
So there, when it comes to like the shipping powerhouses of the world, we have Greece at number 1, Japan at number 2, and we have China at number 3. Japan and Greece are a lot smaller compared to China, but at least for Greece, with them, for their location, they've been able to be the shipping superpower for over 50 years. I guess dealing with a lot of bulk resources such as oils, metals, coal, and grain. And because, I guess, with Greece's location and with the mountainous terrain, they weren't able to really grow large quantities of food. Thus, having for them to turn to maritime trade in the seas for resources, and with Greece's location close to the Suez Canal, they have a lot of resources they can get from there. But also, there's a really short land connection to some of the wealthiest European countries of the world, like I think Switzerland and such. So it makes it really nice, great hub for them.
It sounds like that's probably the majority of their economy then. It's just shipping. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, too, is it seems like Greece and Japan are probably like those legacy states, that dealt with the shipping and stuff like that. And China's the new one on the horizon.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of see it.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. The craziest thing is with Greece, like there's a relationship between, or the connection between Greece and China. So when, Greece was popping, they actually invested in China and helped them turn from, the poor farming country that they were to what they are now. I guess during the time, China wasn't really open to trade, but then, Greek ship owners were able to expand into China and, acquire contracts to deliver resources to and from China. So, they already have that relationship there. But then with the 2008 global crisis, apparently Greece was hit really hard, and they weren't able to fully recover until they were saying 2018, where they had a positive 2% GDP growth.
Damn.
During that whole time, they were looking for investors because they were going through a debt crisis, so no one really wanted to take that risk. One country that did, China.
So China bailed them out.
Yeah, so it was just like Greece helped China build itself up. Greece went down. China helped them build it back up, and because China was able to help Greece when no one else did, Greece sold a 67% stake of the port of Piraeus, known as the Pearl of the Mediterranean, to a China state-run company. I think the Pearl of the Mediterranean is basically a distribution hub for a network that expands across Europe, Asia, and Africa. And China plans to make it the largest port in Europe. And that port has grown over 250% since the investments from China began.
Yeah.
So something I learned was that the Greeks are one of the biggest shippers of oil. Apparently 1/3 of the world's oil is delivered with Greek ships, and 1/3 of the shipping value of Greece comes from oil contracts. We have Japan and we have China focusing on more container shipping, say for smaller products, and I guess is really big because of e-commerce and such and so forth, really being a big deal. So it's said that Greek ship owners are going to have to adapt, just as Japan and China are doing, in order to compete and still take that number one shipping nation title.
Mm-hmm.
Because say if they don't and it drops and they drop, then we basically have, say, China being able to dominate, or being a dominant player in all parts of world trade.
We'll probably get there eventually. I remember Keith actually talking frequently about this one ticker symbol that, like, containers. You know how, like, containers have just been, the price of containers just been flying.
Like shipping? Like shipping
I
containers?
think so, yeah. Just, I don't know specifically. Maybe it's, like, all sort of shipping containers, household containers.
Is it called the Container Store?
I think so.
Is it? I think a ticker is TCS.
TCS?
Yeah, I've never really.
I don't think so.
Maybe. Go to stock.
I think it'd be the first one in any of these.
Okay, never mind.
I'll just look it up. But yeah, I've heard him talk about, containers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of all I really got for China. Just some woke China shit. That, because apparently when what was it? It was back in 2017 when that China state-run company Costco purchased that 75% of that Hong Kong company that owned the port of Long Beach. It didn't make headlines. Like no one fucking cared.
Oh yeah.
Like nobody, it wasn't mainstream at all. They didn't fucking care until, I guess maybe after, or the federal government started to look at it. They're like, I think we have a security issue here. But even then, I don't think.
Yeah, one would think.
Yeah.
How did that?
You would think concerns would go like, all right, well, this China state-run company just bought a huge part of the stake that basically owns.
Yeah, they have a majority
the port and
ownership in
stuff,
this port, so basically they get to make the rules.
Yeah, it's probably because it's all part of the plan.
Well, I mean,
you wouldn't think.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think that would just fly under the radar like, oh, this is fine. I don't know about that. But at the end of the day, I really don't know either. Maybe it did just somehow slip by.
There's a 0% chance. It's the second largest port in the world.
Yeah.
Second largest port in U.S. or North America.
Oh, yeah.
North America.
It was funny though.
Yeah, it's U.S. I mean, you would think it'd be some big news.
Do you think you said an Australian company?
Yeah, I said a private Australian company.
Yeah, Australia's not too hot either.
Well,
so.
Australia's infrastructure is built by China, so
they basically own it.
I don't know. I mean, maybe they are some independent Australians, but I don't know.
I doubt it.
Australia's pretty
shit.
Yeah.
You see what's been going on in fucking Australia.
Yeah, I saw this thing that like to take a drink of your beverage, you can't lift your mask up, or else
going through my mask,
or else someone will say something to you like, "Hey, put your mask up."
Yeah, I saw this thing that
what the hell?
In Australia, this young girl was eating lunch with her dad, and he didn't have his mask on in a public park, and police attacked him, tackled him and beat him.
Man, the fact that people are putting up with that shit is fucking just makes you lose faith in humanity.
Mm-hmm.
It's you're really going to just let you're really just gonna take it, you're just gonna take it, you're.
As simple as that. You're really just gonna let this.
This is what your ancestors died for, so you could put on a face diaper and abide by completely pointless laws, other than the fact that the government's using this is almost to get a foot in the door, and controlling more and more and more your lives. And the more you consent, the more control they'll take. Your ancestors died and built your family name so you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
But you should be ashamed of yourselves.
It starts with a study that George Gammon talked about. Reference him way too much in the past episode, but it's good fucking information. He talked about a study that was done where these people were asked to do something, right? And what I'm going to reference here is they were asked to put a small sign in their yard.
Yeah.
Most people are like, sure, I'll do that. There's some people who were asked, like, put a big sign in their lawn, like, fuck no, I'm not doing that. It's the same thing with the masks.
Yep.
Oh, just wear this mask, this small little sign.
Yep, get this vaccine. Oh, sorry, this vaccine isn't working anymore. Get this other vaccine.
Then
People are getting sick from the vaccine. Oh, get this vaccine to counteract that vaccine.
Well, then it's going to get to the point where it's like, we need you to sell your fucking house. Give it to us so we can start lowering pollution.
Yeah.
They're going to say some shit like that. That's the big sign. But
your house isn't carbon neutral. We got to make your house carbon neutral.
Yep, and that's the big sign, but it's after all of these small little signs that you slowly start to just fall into line with the program.
Yeah, and that's what these smart cities are going to be. The people in those smart cities are going to be the people that consented and gave away all their rights. Mm-hmm. And then they will be the cattle. They will be the tax slaves. I mean, we already are tax slaves, but it's going to go beyond that. Even
more so, exactly.
It's going to go beyond that.
Yeah. There's going to be the people who are not in the smart cities that chose freedom, or whatever it looks like at that point. They chose not to be some fucking AI, basically. Mm-hmm. You don't even own your own home. You share homes with people. You don't own your own car. You don't own your own life. Is that what you really want? I don't think so. I don't think that's what you really want. Well, that's interesting. That basically ties everything back in together. That's what we started the day with.
Yeah. But I guess to end it out, I wanted to discuss the Fermi paradox, but it's kind of like we'd be dissecting a video, which we can do another episode. I guess we can end it with this Saturday. Boxing match, Tito Ortiz versus Anderson Silva, and then we have Vitor Belfort versus Emmanuel Holyfield.
Evander.
Oh, Evander.
With commentary by Donald Trump.
Really?
Yeah, it's in Florida.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a bye week of UFC, so no MMA. We have boxing. Revan,
it's funny that
give us your picks.
Oh,
who you got?
Tito Ortiz, Anderson Silva.
Oh God, Anderson Silva's. Wait, is this a boxing match?
It's a boxing
Anderson
match.
Silva's gonna box his head off.
Yeah, that's what I think. Tito Ortiz can't strike for shit.
Anderson Silva went 10 rounds with Julio Cesar Chavez's son, who's a professional boxer who fought Canelo. And Tito is he's an MMA guy. He's a wrestler. He's no striker.
Yeah.
So I definitely got Anderson. And then Evander Holyfield versus Vitor Belfort.
Yeah, it was supposed to be
Evander Holyfield.
It's supposed to be the cokehead.
Oh yeah. Why are we picking? I don't know. Well, I guess how old is Evander, and how old is Vitor?
Age. All right. So Evander Holyfield is 58 years old.
Okay. Vitor has got to be in his
44.
Man, I don't even know.
But Vitor has all that juice and.
Yeah, Vitor is definitely taking steroids. So is Evander, probably. I got Evander Holyfield just because he's one of the greatest boxers ever. But I mean,
look at this guy.
I mean, to be honest, I really couldn't give a frog's ass. I don't care. This is a joke.
I only like that Donald Trump is commenting.
The fact that this is more popular than actual like legitimate
boxing. Yeah,
it's sad.
It goes to show you, man, how bad it is.
How bad boxing promoters are. They don't know how to promote their fighters at all. They really don't.
Sure, I'll watch these fights, but the fights everyone wants to see are the ones they're not putting together.
Yeah, no one cares to watch Ryan Garcia fight a bum or fucking like put Gervonta Davis versus like any of the top 5, Ryan Garcia, any of the top 5. Like just get these fights happening and people will care about boxing. Like the only guy that's really like going out there and challenging people is Canelo. It seems like everyone else is just scared. Mm-hmm. No one wants. none of these promoters want to lose their golden goose. None of them want to lose their moneymaker, so they just put these bullshit fights together that no one cares about.
That and the top guys never fight consistently, it seems like. I mean, all right, I'm not asking one to do what fucking Mike Tyson did. Have, what was it, 15 fights in 1 year? That's retarded. But
That's awesome.
okay.
That's
It's
Iron Mike.
But you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
what you see like Tyson Fury fight once a year.
Yeah, I was wondering that. I'm like top 5 boxers.
It's only Canelo.
It's only like once a year, once
Seems
or twice
like-
a year.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. It seems like it.
I mean, they got to make Fury versus Anthony Joshua. I don't know why you're dragging their heels on that. Neither of them are getting any younger. Like,
I don't know.
just make the fucking fight.
You guys want to make money or
Like,
not?
that's the biggest fight in the world. Why aren't you, like, do you not like money?
Isn't that what this is pretty much all about?
Well, the reason they're not making it is probably because of COVID, because they can't sell out a stadium because of COVID restrictions.
They're selling out Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for Joshua versus Usyk.
Oh, they are?
Yeah,
Oh, what the hell are they doing then?
I don't know. You can
Yeah,
fucking
I would say just like go somewhere where you can.
yeah. That's what the
Like,
UFC
fucking
did.
Shit, go to Abu Dhabi. Go to the fucking. I was gonna, go to like one of the Arabic countries.
This guy. Yeah. No, I mean, just go where you can. Like, man, do it like Canelo and Billy Joel did. Billy Joe, not Billy Joel.
Yeah, they went to Cowboy Stadium.
Sold that bitch out.
Yes, sold that bitch out.
Texas is open. Florida's open.
Yeah, Florida's open. What?
You tell me that.
Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona. Go to Nevada. Are you telling me like that you couldn't bring that fight stateside and it wouldn't be as big? No, I think it would be fucking huge over here too. No, I think it should
Well,
be
they're
done.
two British boxers.
It should be done in the UK.
It
Yes,
should absolutely be done in the UK.
but if you want to make the fight, come here. Just come here.
They won't.
No, they won't. You're right.
I mean, I don't think they should, to be fair. I mean, I could... that fight should take place on British soil.
Said before, you do it wherever you can in the UK, but you gotta do it at Wembley Stadium. That would be insane. And that maybe it's too big for it. I don't know, because I mean that's $100,000, 100,000 people. Wait, no, it's not. Is it?
I don't even know.
I think it is actually. That might be too big for it, but I don't know.
What many? 100,000.
90,000.
Nah, they can pack that bitch out.
Yeah, I
They
think
can pack that bitch out.
Yeah, they absolutely could. That's the biggest fight in the world. People would come to see that from all over the world, all over Europe.
they're retarded.
Yeah, I don't get it.
All right, end it there.
I would say for me, let's see Tito. Let's see Tito, and let's go Vitor.
Anderson Silva. I'll take Evander on short notice. Fuck it. I mean, like he said, I don't care about the second one.
I don't
the
care.
first one's funny because I think
I don't
Tito's
care about either of these.
I think Tito's gonna die, but
I think Tito was gonna die.
I think Tito's gonna get his ass beat.
yeah,
I mean, Tito ain't no boxer.
no.
Yeah, all we have to do is just look at the highlight reel from the from his fighting career. A lot of ground and pound, wrestling ground and pound.
He's a wrestler.
That's why
He's a wrestler.
that's where I remember Tito.
He's getting into the ring with a guy who fought Julio Cesar Chavez's fucking son.
Yeah,
And beat him pretty easily. If I, what was the scorecard on that? Do you know?
it was closer than it should have been. I don't remember what it was. 6-4 maybe.
6-4.
It was more than that. I think.
I mean, from
Julio
what I
Cesar.
heard, Anderson Silva won pretty easily.
I think he probably won all but 2 rounds. I think is what I had
Okay.
when I watched it.
Yeah.
Well, and that in what, like, probably the best striker in MMA
Yep.
Yeah, he's
up until maybe what Israel might take that. We'll see, but
Israel's definitely better.
yeah, but
It's just
he doesn't have the
he has
legs.
to get more names under his belt.
Yeah, exactly. But damn, the rain's coming hard down, or coming down hard right now.
I did not.
Just real quick, we'll wrap it up here. Just a few things we talked about. Actually, a pretty small list, but tons of information. Artificial intelligence, smart cities, and Neuralink. Talked about the Fed briefly. Talked a lot about China's monopoly and world trade, and then topped it off with boxing. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Buy Bitcoin, you fuckers.
Ha
Yeah, stop being poor.
Buy
Yeah.
Bitcoin, buy gold, buy the spoos. I don't know.
Plan for the
Yeah.
future. Listen to
Yeah.
what we just said. That's what's coming.
Buy books on investing. Listen to investing podcasts. Don't look at social media. Don't look at TikTok.
Save
Use your
brain
time
cells.
wisely because we're heading into an era where there's going to be the haves and the have-nots. Do you want to be a have or do you want to be a have-not? It's up to you.
Bingo.
Wise words from Revan. Well, be sure to like, dislike, comment your thoughts, good or bad, share and subscribe. Also ring the bell so whenever we upload a new episode, you'll get a notification to stay up to date with the info we put out. Follow the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Unlocking Success. You can follow me everywhere at Rich Homie Vang. Follow Eric on Instagram at Eric_Eclipse. On Twitter at IamTheEclipse. You want to throw out your handles?
Just don't be a retard.
All right, that's a great handle. That's the show. Hopefully you enjoyed and are one step closer to unlocking your definition of success. We love you. Appreciate all the support. Take care. Keep striving. We'll see you next Thursday for another episode. We have a bye week this week for UFC. Peace out.
Bye.